guys, welcome to Stacking the Shelves for the last month or so. Again, I'm still trying to work with this new phone and getting stuff set up. This looks just awesome. My cat usually lays on my desk. It's a sit-stand desk, so he's like, that's his blankie. Anyways, kind of a mess behind me. Hopefully I'm a little bit more on the ball than I was for my best books of October post. Okay, so I do have quite a few books that I got. I just also wanted to comment, I know I did a Stacking the Shelves blog post the end of October, but the video never posted. And that's because I never recorded it. I completely forgot. So these are going to be, if you want to see that, you can go to my blog and go ahead and see what books I got in October. As for the books I got, end of October to November, that's what I'm covering in this post. So I did start requesting review books again. So I do have some review books. The first one I got was actually a little bit of an accident, and that is Night Watch Over Windscar by Kay Eason. This is the second book in the Weep series, which I thought it was the first book in the Weep series, but it is not. It's the second. I did get it from NetGalley, and it is already out. It published on November 8th. I ended up going and actually, we'll get to it, but buying the first book in the series, because this is a science fiction series. It just sounded really interesting. It's been getting really good reviews, and I just thought it sounded really cool, and I really wanted to read it, and I thought that I was requesting the first book for review, but it was actually the second. So that is Night Watch Over Windscar. The second book I got for review is Backpacking Through Bedlam, which is the 12th book in the Encrypted series by Shauna McGuire. I also got this as an e-galley from NetGalley, and this doesn't publish until March 7th of 2023. I'm a pretty big fan of the Encrypted series. I felt like I really liked the last book that featured Alice. The books before that I thought were a little bit slow. I didn't like them as much. They were just getting like very weird. It was no longer just encryptids and paranormal stuff. It was like parallel realities and time portal traveling, and it got very weird. But I did really enjoy Alice's last book. And this book looks like it continues with Alice as the main character. So very excited to see where that character goes. And again, that's Backpacking Through Bedlam. The next one I got, a lot of these were ones that were kind of coming up on different book lists that I follow of like, people were really interested in them. And when I read the synopsis, I really thought they sounded good. So this is one of those, and that is 1,000 Heartbeats by Kira Cass. Again, I got this through NetGalley. It publishes on November 29th, so pretty soon. This is just supposed to be a very nice like fantasy adventure romance. And Kira Cass also writes under another name for her adult novels. This is supposed to be more like a young adult fantasy romance from what I understood. And she started out doing like a lot of steampunk stuff. And honestly, I wasn't a huge fan of her writing style. But I would like to give it another shot because she's pretty popular and I haven't read her for a while. So I thought 1,000 Heartbeats would be a good way to kind of get into that. It's been getting pretty solid reviews, and I could really use a good fantasy adventure romance on my docket right now. All right, the last book I got for review is Silver in the Bone by Alexandra Bracken. This doesn't come out until April 4th, and I got this through NetGalley as well. Alexandra Bracken is an author that I really, really liked a long time ago. She's been a little bit hit and miss for me since then. But this sounds interesting. This is another fantasy by her, and it just sounds like it might be a good fit for me. And again, I haven't read stuff from her for a while, so I'm very much looking forward to reading some from her. All right, I did buy 2 books as well. I bought these both for Kindle. The first one I mentioned, it's Night Watch on the Hinterlands. This is the first book in the Weep series by Kay Eason. Just very interesting sounding sci-fi series, and for some reason I have been reading a lot more sci-fi than I usually do, so looking forward to that, excuse me. And then the second one I bought is Madman'S Dance, which is the third book in the Time Rover series by Jana Oliver. Jana Oliver is better known for her Demon Trappers series. I like blanked for a second there. For her Demon Trapper series, and so I wanted to check out this other series by her, this Time Rover series. It's been very good, It's set in the near future in 2057, where we now don't have time travel and can travel back to the past. There's a lot of like time tourists that travel back in the past for either research or vacation reasons. And this book follows a lady who's a time rover. She kind of either goes back in time and gets these tourists back if they've gone missing, or she accompanies tourists. And she's been in Victorian London during the time of Jack the Ripper and gets involved in a whole bunch of things there. There's also these creatures, people called transients, who could shapeshift into different forms. And there's a whole plot that gets involved between 2057 and London Victoria time. So very elaborate world building, very intriguing plot. I've really been loving it a lot. I've given the first 2 books 5 stars, so very much looking very excited to see how the series wraps up, because Madman'S Dance is the 3rd and final book in that series. All right. I did get 2 audiobooks. I borrowed both of these from my local library, and these wrapped up the Binti series for me. So I had Binti Home, which is book 2 in that novella series, and then Binti the Night Masquerade, which is book 3 in that novella series. These are by Nidhi Okorafor, and very good. Again, science fiction, kind of Afrofuturism. Binti lives on Earth in a kind of a clan in the desert where they have a lot of really high level technology. She doesn't want to stay there. She's called a harmonizer. She wants to go off to a school out in the greater universe. She does that. Her ship gets attacked. She gets pulled into all this crazy stuff. Both of these were very good. They're a little bit more like space opera rather than like space battle, space travel kind of stuff. But there's a lot of alien races and stuff. And I really liked the message and the overall way everything was tied together. And I will definitely be checking out some more books by Okorafor. I don't know if I'm saying that right, in the future. Then I got a whole slew of books from the library. For some reason, September, October has always been a really big time for books coming out in series that I'm reading. I mean, forever, for like the last 10 or 15 years, I know. September, October is always very busy with books coming out in series that I'm in the middle of reading. And this year was no different. So what happens is I put those on hold at the library. I usually get them in the October, November timeframe. So a lot of those here. The first one is actually a new series, but it's a spinoff from an old series that I've read, and that is Foul Lady Fortune by Chloe Gong. This is set in these violent delights world, but follows the character of Rosalind. I can give a mini review for this one. I did not love it. It was really, really political heavy, very intricate politics. And if you really like reading about politics, it's your thing. That would be your thing. I mean, Rosalind's an assassin. She gets involved being a spy. It's very much this very intricate thing between the nationalists and the Japanese and the Russians and all of this. I honestly didn't like it very much. The next one I got from the library is The Twisted Ones by T. Kingfisher. This is my continued quest to read all of Kingfisher's books. This one kind of ventures into, I read this over Halloween. It ventures into more like a horror fantasy area, which a lot of Kingfisher stuff does tend to lean a little bit towards the horror end of things. But in this one, a woman's grandmother dies. Her dad asked her to go clean out her grandmother's house. Her grandmother was a hoarder. It's a horrible mess, but then things start appearing around the house that aren't what they seem to be. It started out as a very good, like, haunted house, again, mini review, haunted house type of fantasy. But it kind of went a little off the rails and started involving all these old fae creatures and all this stuff. It was okay. It just, the tone of the beginning and the pacing of the beginning book was very different from the second half of the book. It was almost like 2 books got squished together or something. I don't know. Again, it wasn't one I loved. So I kind of had like I read these one after the other. I kind of had like a mediocre book run going on there. And that continued with the next book I got from the library was Grey Warren. This is the 3rd book in the Dreamer trilogy by Maggie Stiefvater. And I was so excited to read this book. And honestly, I was kind of disappointed in it. I mean, everything ties up. It just felt weird. It was longer than it needed to be. There was a lot of time you spend in characters' heads while they angst over things. And you're spending time in some, I don't know, some realm where you're going between these things called sweet metals and stuff. It was a little ambiguous and weird. It was okay. It tied it up. I think I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, but I didn't love it, and I felt a little bit let down. And it had like a nice epilogue that pulls in all the characters from, the Raven cycle and all of that. So that was nice. It made it sound like she's probably not going to write anymore in that world, but I guess we'll see. Okay, so you also gave mini reviews for all these. The next one I got from the library was A Scatter of Light by Melinda Lowe. This book was touted as a companion novel to Last Night at the Telegraph Club, which I loved. It's not really a companion novel to Last Night at the Telegraph Club. Those characters make a very brief cameo at the end of the book, but it's set in the early 2000s, maybe it was like 2013, when gay marriage is not illegalized. I guess it's legalized, but mainly it was voted that it could not be illegal. And a character who kind of comes out as a lesbian and is dealing with a whole bunch of stuff like a sick grandma on this. It's very much a day in the life, somebody kind of coming of age over this summer. For me, again, this was another one I thought was very mediocre considering the novel it was following up. I ended up giving 3 out of 5 stars. It was okay. It just didn't have the impact that Last Night at the Telegraph Club had for me. I think part of it is it's just set, I mean, like 2013 wasn't that long ago, so it didn't have this huge historical impact. The character was kind of wishy-washy, and I don't know. It was okay. All right. The next one I got from the library was Rust in the Root by Justina Ireland. Again, another one I was very excited about. I really loved Red Nation a lot. And Rust in the Root was very, very good. I did end up giving it 5 out of 5 stars. It's set in like what am I thinking? What time frame? Anyways, it's set in colonial America, kind of, but maybe slightly later than that. And something has happened to unbalance the world and put portions of it into this blight. And we're following a character who is a floromancer, a magic user, who goes to New York City and joins the Colored Magic Auxiliary. I just like combine those two words, to like go fight the blight stuff. It's really hard to explain. I really liked it though. It's a very complex world, very complete world building, especially since it's a standalone book. The magic system was really interesting. Some of the intricacy in there was interesting. Honestly, there was like a lot packed in there, and it might have almost been better to like have a little bit more explanation and stuff and like have a duology, but it is all packed into one book. I really, really liked it a lot. I would love to see more stories set in that world. It was just a fascinating world, and I really liked the characters. Again, a lot of focus on like there's a Ku Klux Klan that's kind of evil. The Colored Auxiliary is cleaning up a lot of their messes, and they have a more harmonized approach to magic. Very much, I'm going to say very much like white people are kind of villainized throughout it, which is a good representation of that time, right? Right after we come out of the Ku Klux Klan and all this evil, horrible things that they did. But it was very well done, and I really enjoyed it a lot. It leads me to the, sixth book I got from the library, and that is Ruby Fever, which is the 6th book in the Hidden Legacy series by Ilona Andrews. Another one I'm very much looking forward to. I just started reading this one last night, as in I basically opened the book. I haven't read a whole lot of it yet. I want to go back and read my reviews for the previous book so I can kind of jog my memory about what's going on. This is going to be the final book in Catalina Baylor's series, I guess. So, Nevada Baylor was like the first 3, and then the second 3 are Catalina. So, yes, we will finish this. I don't know if they're planning on doing like another trilogy. I think there is a 3rd sister in the family, so I don't know. So that's the 6th book I got. And the 7th book I got from the library is The Golden Enclaves. See, I told you lots of series. So this is the 3rd and final book in the Schoolomance series by Naomi Novik. I have liked this series. I really love the 1st book in the series. The 2nd book I didn't like as much, but I'm eager to see what happens. From the synopsis, it kind of sounds like they get out of the Schoolomance, but then our main character has to go back in. So very excited to read that. So overall, this is kind of a long video, but I ended up getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 books over the last 4 weeks. So not too bad. I am reading a bit more again, as I had mentioned before. I don't know. I went off the rails a little bit after I finished my patent bar exam. And what I mean by that is, like, all of a sudden I didn't have 3 or 4 hours a day of studying to do. And so I just kind of did nothing. I've been a lot of times scrolling through YouTube and Google News on my phone, and I started playing some video games again. I like sorted through my closet and cleaned stuff out, and like wasn't really doing a lot of anything, and I'm not sure what happened. I think my brain just broke and had to have a break for a few weeks. I am much more getting back into reading some more, doing more reviews. I'll be trying to do more videos and other stuff. So I was doing a pretty concerted effort on our Legos. There's still some back there where I was rebuilding Lego sets and selling them on eBay. So I am doing that again. And again, picking up some video games. So I did just finish Stray, which I had wanted to play for a while. I also finished Moss for the second time. I had Moss on the PSVR, and then I really like my Oculus Quest 2 more. So I bought it on there so that I could play Moss 2 on there, which I will start playing soon. But I wanted to play Stray as well because it was a free game for the month if you have PS Premium. So I played that. I really liked it. I'm trying to decide if I want to try to platinum it or not, but I don't know. I have a couple other video games because I also want to play like Fisherman's Tale on VR, and I also want to play Moss 2. And then I have the new Zero Dawn Forbidden West to play as well, and that's going to be a pretty big time commitment. And of course, I did finish in Platinum Elden Ring, but I wouldn't mind going back and doing some more stuff in that one too. So I'd really like to get playing some more video games. My husband and I are starting to watch some movies and TV series again. Warrior Nun Season 2 came out, so we've been watching that. I don't watch a ton of TV, but there are a few series I really like to watch. And I had honestly taken, because of all the studying for the patent bar, I had taken like my TV watching to like 0, my book reading to very minimal, and my exercise to very minimal. So that's the other thing I've been doing is more weightlifting, more exercise, more cardio, trying to get, I put on a few pounds for the last year, spending all this time studying. So I'd like to get those off. So that's what I've been doing. It is snowing like crazy here in Minnesota. It's been bizarre. We had 80 degrees last Wednesday. It was very warm. It felt very warm for the beginning of November. But now we've had snow. It's been snowing since Monday morning, and it's supposed to be very cold Friday. It's going to be in the teens for the high, with the real feel with the wind chill like in the single digits. So I'm guessing the snow is going to stick around for a while, at least for a few weeks. And I don't know. We're kind of wondering if this is it. There's always a point in Minnesota where the snow is there and it's going to stay until the spring. And I'm kind of wondering if we hit that early. Normally you don't hit that till late December, but I don't know. It's very, very snowy outside. And my son got to do his first time driving in the snow, so that was fun. Anyways, I've probably chatted enough. This has gotten pretty long. So I'm going to try to get back to doing more videos and at least more reading, because I'm pretty behind on like my reading goals for the year. I didn't know coming into the year that I was going to decide to go ahead and take the patent bar this year. I had thought about it, but I made that decision like into January, early February timeframe. So yay, that goal was realized, but all my other goals for the year went by the wayside. So, all right. I hope you guys got a lot of great books, and have a great week of reading ahead of you, and I will talk to you later. Bye.